I wrote yesterday about courage, and I used the reference to Tyler Durden. And so I'm wearing a Tyler Durden shirt right now that my buddy gave me for my birthday. And that story of Fight Club, which most people who are like, Christian, they see this, and I'm an evangelical Christian, see Fight Club as bad, right? They're like, oh, look at this guy who's like a nihilist and absurdist and is like selfish and a narcissist. But if you actually like read what he's writing, or sorry, what he's saying, right? It's a comic book, but like what he's talking about is essentially how systems in culture and society tell us to do things that we have no idea why. And other people will pressure you to do those things, and they don't even know why. And this whole system is developed and just kind of mindlessly pushes you through life, right? And so his whole point of Fight Club, like what is the actual point? The point is individuality. The point is like to discover who you actually are, and you have to break the entire system down to then you find who you actually are and what you actually want to be, right? So all of these things, like this scene here, right, is all about how Edward Norton, who's the actual only character, right? Although in Fight Club 2, Durden's not dead, by the way. Durden's alive.
There's 2 Fight Clubs. There's a Fight Club 2.
Yeah. So
was it made into a movie, or it's just a comic book?
No, okay. Just the first one. But the point of like these scenes is basically that Durden is destroying all of the idols that exist in Ed's life that prevent him from becoming the man he's supposed to be. And that's everything that happens in the movie, right? So he's actually like Durden is actually really consistent with actually his own philosophy that leads him to do really insane things, right? Because he himself is insane, right? That's like the whole kind of arc of the show. But for me, it was like kind of breaking free of these systems that like I was told to believe. And when I became a Christian really late in high school and started pursuing it more seriously in college, I basically saw how I was taught all these things in public school. I was taught all these things by my secular family. There were things that were just not true, right? And I had to from
that's probably too broad. Keep going.
Sorry.
But we will get to that though. He wrote an article right before this one where he talks about that. That's brilliant. Hold that thought, Andrew. Go on, Aaron. That's a great question.
Yeah. So basically, I decided to embrace this path of like, I have people who I love who differ with me massively on metaphysics, right? They differ with me significantly on philosophy now, on morality and faith. And so I had to basically determine how to actually like live my life now, right? That I could actually break free of what was actually established for me, take things that were actually good, to remove things I did not agree with or thought were bad, and build the life that I wanted to build. And that's like what Durden does. So No More Nice Guy Treaty is about this too, that I had to like break away so much of like what was defining about how like men today form their identity, right? They're conflict avoidant, they appease people, they use hidden contracts, they have massive toxic shame, they have a distorted view of themselves, they use appeasement and approval to get what they want, they're never direct, they're indirect. Like these are all things that I had to break free of from high school to college. And that's part of that's Durden and V for Vendetta, Ben for Brothers, like all this stuff. I was like on the sort of mainstream media side, but also like reading books from like early philosophers to like, Rousseau and Augustine to mainstream ones. And this kind of all led to this arc of self-discovery, right? And so this series, Numerous Nice Guys, actually been it's been really moving because
this is amazing.
Oh,
you're describing exactly basically what I've been going through the last 10 years. This is exactly how I was raised.
Yeah.
Kindness over integrity. It is horrible.
Yeah. So
it rots the soul and it emasculates men. It's crazy. Kindness over integrity.
Yeah. So
kindness over honesty.
So the point of like a lot of what men like struggle with today, which goes to like my friendship piece, which goes to like Durden and like the nice guy stuff, like it's essentially that they've been like really starved in mainstream society. And a lot of that is an expression of like long-term trends that we were just the end result of. It wasn't like this was like, oh my God, Obama happened and like everything bad happened, right? Like this is not this case, right? These are like cultural trends that were being established in the 20s and 30s, 40s, and 50s that basically are reaching their sort of culmination. And one of them is a significant lack of friendship, right? And this is something that
significant Glassman, what lack
A friendship. Yeah.
Lack in friendship. Okay.
Yeah. Like, so like, you and I know both know Glassman really well. Right. And he's like a friend of mine, and his life in his home is like open. Right. And it's one of the most amazing things about him and Maggie is that it's just like this like open. I never know when I go to Glassman's house who's going to be there. Right. And that's the fun part of Glassman. Right. Is like, I get to like, I've met you, and I've met all the doctors in his life, and scientists, and like it's
and
like
he'll have the guy out who paints his fence over for dinner. Hanging out. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the
eclectic crowd.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to basically like live a life like that. And the only way to actually discover that is to actually have self-respect, right? And ultimately, the point of All the Nice Guy series, which I'm going to end here in like 2 weeks, and I'm going to end with Jesus Wasn't Nice, and kind of destroy the whole like, as you know, I'm a Christian, and the whole like Christian nice guy thing is like totally not Jesus at all. Like, so, but the point is like self-respect, right? And self-respect is not self-esteem, right? Self-esteem is like a faux sort of like nice guy thing where it's like, oh, just like believe in yourself, and like, and it's this illusory picture of like you having this projection externally that I am these great things. Self-respect is like, I'm good at this stuff and I'm bad at this stuff. I know who I am. Like, that's it. It's like, it's very simple, but it's really, really hard, right? Because you have to know who you are. You have to know what you want to do. You have to know what you not want to do, right? And that's like
all the vulnerable piece you talk about too, right? Know what you're good at, know what you're not.
Yeah, and that then goes to like when you don't have self-respect and you seek approval and appeasement and self-flagellation, self-effacing behavior towards other people, which is what most men are taught to today. That the way they form friendships, the way they find a wife, the way that they get a job, get a promotion, is to self-efface, is to say that like my expression of like getting approval from other people through being nice and kind and serving and all these things like will get me what I want. And I have to like, therefore, like these people that are being self-effaced too, right, have to sort of like imagine, that like this is going to somewhat convince me, right, that like through manipulation of getting approval, that so nice guys will get these things that they want, right? And so the actual way to get what you want is to have self-respect. Be like, this is what I need, this is what I want. Like I'm willing to negotiate here, willing not to negotiate here, right? And you're shocked what happens when like you're actually just direct. And you're just honest with other people, right? And you just say what you want, right? And of course, it doesn't mean like being the opposite of a nice guy is being a good guy. It's not being an ass. It's not being rude. It's not being obnoxious and an arrogant, prick, right? That's the opposite direction, a domineering personality, right? The actual is to be a good guy, right? A good guy is direct and is honest and is frank, has integrity, as principled, cares about people that he chooses to care about, right? And this all boils into like the one meaningful way that you can get encouragement to like become a good man is to have friends. And friends are one of my mentors used to say that like friends are for edification and for enjoyment, right? And friends push you to be better, right, in ways that is very underappreciated in our current society. And some of that is the way our like everything from like urban policy has designed that prevents friendship to like our media culture to like, like there's lots of reasons why we have less friends than ever before. But if you go back like 100 years ago, right, our culture was heavily dominated by these civil institutions, right? We're talking about like, Rotary Club and like bowling and like poker club and like gentlemen's club, right? Not the strip club, but like smoking cigars and like reading books together, right? And women had the same thing, right? They had all these other clubs they would go do, and they had this like we had this really, really tight knit dits culture, right? And
what's the word you use? Tight knit dits?
Dits.
Dense.
Like the social fabric between individuals who are non-familial, non-genetic attached, attachments like family, was significantly greater, right, today significantly greater 100 years ago than it is today. And if you look at the trends in terms of loneliness and depression and addiction to substances, divorce, like all of them are also directly correlated to actually the decline of non-familial ties. And I think that is one reason we see so many problems here of like death and despair, lack of achievement, to men being listless and families being broken apart, is that these actually non-familial, non-genetic ties are all breaking down, like really, really severely. And you see this in the reflection of like CrossFit culture, right? and that CrossFit is essentially like a secular church, right? It provided this meaning and connection between non-family people around one single subject area that they had, rituals, you had common language, and common clothing, right? And provided this structure for people to actually meet non-family connections and form bonds over each other, right? And that's one of the most amazing things about CrossFit is that that's like a good thing because people like need that like belonging to something. They can't just exist in this like empty void of like commercialism and making money and like just like vote for people who like, oh, will always leave you alone and like go make some money here at this like corporate job and shop at Costco and like have some resemblance of authenticity by going to Whole Foods. You think Costco is still corporate, right? Like all this like devoid of morality and meaning in our society, which is what I was raised with in high school and college, was like just transact and everyone will be tolerant of each other, right? Totally exploded, right? Everything has exploded. Like all that whole philosophy of neoliberalism and has like totally eroded and like almost nobody believes it, but like it created all these like factional things of morality in our society that we're dealing with today.